We're going live, and we're live.
Okay, sounds good. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Anthony.
Hello. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I guess we'll jump right in. So last week we had a conversation, or not last week, but the week before, because last week we took off for the holiday.
That's right.
But the week before we talked about the XDeFi integration.
Apparently they're rebranding. Do you know what they're rebranding to? XDeFi?
I do not. Do you?
No, I don't. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll find out, but I welcome that rebrand. So this week, I guess I'll let you take charge on the discussion this week, since this was kind of your idea. So why don't you tell us what you had in mind, and we'll go ahead and discuss.
Yeah, this is partly, just based on the thoughts I was having from the previous episode, the integration, because, we were talking about how are we going to integrate with this thing that a lot of people are using and supports all these other coins, but doesn't currently support us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just kind of like a general thing that is good to be aware of with any of these projects. Is something I know with, if you're like an open source front end framework, you're usually like trolling through docs looking for like the frameworks integration section. It's like, all right, it's got React and Vue, but it doesn't have Svelte. So then you open a PR for Svelte to get like Svelte in there. So that's a process I'm kind of like, I think is really important, because it's like, one, it gets you visibility. People who already use this thing will then possibly see you in the docs, or will see even like the example templates. And it's also good then because it hardens your own product, because you need to make it work with a lot of different stuff. So it makes you aware of your own surface area and kind of where things can go wrong, or where weird edge cases and bugs are. And then it also just builds connections like in the community. Like you usually have some sort of process of working with people through doing that, even if it's just getting like a PR approved or something like that. And then, the crypto space is also just like the money layer, and because it's like we want to be able to transact with each other. A lot of people have different coins, but if you can build in that thing that allows people to use kind of whatever coins they want, then you can have access to the whole crypto space, regardless of what kind of coin you want to use, which is not really where we're at, because everything is so kind of bespoke still, because crypto is just such a new technology.
Yeah, it's a bit fragmented still, and there's multi-coin support has some. There's a little bit of multi-coin support, but it's tricky. So yeah, I think this is a good topic to discuss. I will say right off the bat that the Dash growth team that Joel Valenzuela leads up is doing a good job here with integrating into like finding partnerships and stuff like that. And
so where would I be able to get visibility into that for myself, so I can see what other parts of the Dash world is doing?
Well, that's a good question. And the first place that I would say let's start is if you got your screen share going, let's go to dash.org. And the way that I like to have these discussions, where it's something that I may or may not know, but I want it to not be something that just I know if I do know it, and
you want it to be something other people can answer for themselves, who randomly have the same question
on their own, even if I do know it. And in this case, I don't really know the full answer to this question. So we would have to find out ourselves. And if we find that we can't find out, then, that's something that we should address. But I do know that there is at least one page on the dash.org site that lists integrations. And so I'd like to see if you can go ahead and find it. And if not, I guess we'll.
This is not exactly the same thing, but this is actually, this is like a Picto version of stuff. Oh, this is like kind of so this is things like the Twitter accounts, the social media accounts. I know this is not what you're talking about, but I just want to look at this real quick.
No, this is fine, because this is one of the first things that you come across. I'm actually kind of surprised to see this right on the. Are we on the homepage? We're on.
Yeah, this is the picture on the homepage. So
right on the homepage.
Scroll, it's Dash ecosystem overview.
This is actually something that the Incubator did put together. Dash Incubator put image together,
Gotcha.
and it's a little outdated. And
maybe we could update it.
Yeah, I don't know if we should update it or if we should, focus on something that's a little bit more user friendly. But but yeah, this is kind of like an impressive image of some of the whole ecosystem. It says.
Okay, so you want to keep looking at this? You want to keep scrolling around the website?
Yeah, there's a. So you tell me, like, what kind of integrations were you interested in? And
that's kind of what I wanted to kind of talk about. I feel like there's a discussion to be had. It's like, what are the most high leverage integrations? Like, if we weren't in, like, if you couldn't buy Dash on Coinbase, that would be like the first number one thing you would be like, we got to get on Coinbase. Like, and maybe you disagree with that, but I think that in terms of like actually allowing people to use Dash, that if it was, that would be huge. So that is kind of what I'm thinking, is like, what are other places where like there's already a very large contingent of crypto users who could be using Dash but currently aren't, like people who like were the DeFi wallet users. So I guess you have exchanges, you have wallets, you have dApps, you have just like payment providers that accept crypto. So it's like, you want to look at what are the number one options for all of those, and is Dash there? So that was kind of partly what I was thinking. But then you also just have the broader open source kind of crypto world. So when you said it was Joel was the person who was working on integrations?
Yeah, Joel. And
Joel.
He's primarily focused on some of the Web3 spaces. I want to branch out more and focus with you on the Web2 space and just general web space rather than Web3 space. But that's something. Let's find what I was looking for, at least. And if you see under developers, there's providers and tools.
Yep.
So let's click through there. And this will kind of show you some of the integrations that we have with, like it's showing here, payment processors, exchanges. You were mentioning Coinbase. I don't know if that's on this page or not.
I would say it probably isn't, I would guess.
I know that we are on Coinbase.
That's where I hold my Dash. I know for some people like, you don't hold your own keys, bro. It's like, no, I do not. I'm sorry.
Well, we do. We should fix that for sure. So there's software development kits. I don't think that's what you were. Maybe that's what you were talking about, but.
I'm not really talking about anything. I'm talking in as general of a sense as possible, because like we're trying to get more people into Dash. So uphold, that's really good. So things like this is like, I have found, I've been on all sorts of crypto sites, so like randomly it's like uphold will pop up, and like it's like the first thing you kind of use. That's why it's like a fiat on ramp. So stuff like this, I think this stuff is huge. That's partly why I think having on Coinbase is important, because a lot of people use Coinbase as their fiat on ramp. That's how they transact regular old cash, like USD, to one of these cryptos.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that we don't have Coinbase on our site here, because I do know that we are on Coinbase. Business Solutions is currently empty, so let's look at that for a minute. So yeah, this is definitely something that we should ask Joel if he can get into the dash.org website and try to spruce this up a bit, because
I would have invited him to the stream if I kind of knew that someone else was already. This is like I still a lot of parts of the Dash ecosystem I'm still learning about, but so
no, that's fine, and it's not, we don't have to limit ourselves to one team working on this. Dash Growth doesn't have to be the only people that are aware of and working on partnerships.
It's important to know what our bordering groups are working on, so we can know whether we're duplicating work or like being synergistic with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first step would be trying to get this page up to date. So I will reach out to him and see if if he's probably already on that if I know him. So he's doing a great job there.
Yeah, because we could also have like coming soon if there's like one we're working on or something like that.
Yep.
So was this the page
fiat on ramps, business solutions,
and then these were software development. This is interesting. So
and this are probably outdated as well. But
yeah, let's see. This is dashboard library. So this is it's 5 months old. So is this still currently being used? Dashboard lib.
Yeah, dashboard lib. That's a current library.
That's great. Okay, so what we would probably want to add to this is we would want to add just the regular dash npm package that we're using for everything. The one for this one. So we will probably want this to be on hold on. This.
Of course, that link's outdated, so that should be fixed as well.
Yeah. So dash SDK. Yeah, this is probably. Then you could have, if you want to put this for just like JavaScript, not necessarily Node, because this can be used in whatever.
Yep.
So then, and we have Python, .NET, PHP, Objective-C. Let's see if there's others floating around the GitHub repo. So let's see. I just want to see where some of these other ones live.
Yeah, and as you're looking through those, I'll mention that I believe that the roadmap going forward is that Dash Core Group is building a Rust library that's actually not on there as well.
Gotcha.
And that may or may not replace some of these or all of them, other language SDKs. So instead of having native SDKs in these languages, I believe their game plan going forward is to, that's a fun image, is to replace most of them with Dash Rust SDK and then have bindings to those languages.
Yeah. Up in the section though, say forked it from Bitcoin, it still says Rust Bitcoin library.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, I mean, there's a lot of tidying up that we can do here. Obviously, pull requests are welcome. Custody solutions API providers. So this would be like RPC providers.
Yeah, that's like QuickNode where I used to work.
Yep.
And then these were payment processing solutions. So I think the payment processing solutions, that's probably where we could bring more of the Web 2 stuff in. So then the first thing I would ask you, like, what's the deal? What's the story with Stripe and Dash? Like, I think Stripe has accepted crypto for a little while, not a long time. So that would be something I would be curious. You want to go down that route right now?
Stripe. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, the first place that we would look for that would probably be Stripe itself.
Yeah, exactly. I'll look for Stripe cryptocurrency support.
And I would be surprised to see it on here. I don't remember getting support on Stripe. I don't remember what support Stripe has for cryptocurrencies in general, if at all. So,
yeah, they do. Is that it offers varying levels of support for businesses according to use case and region. So it's like it's probably very dependent on a specific country's legal stuff. So here we go. Build your crypto business with Stripe. So it supports MetaMask, blockchain.com, Mu, stuff like that. So if it supports a thing that supports Dash, then there could be a way for us to get in.
Yeah, most likely what would be the case here is that Stripe would probably be using an integration under the hood with some other provider, like a crypto specific provider, like BitPay or Coinbase. And if we're on there, then we would be supported. If we're on that integration, then we would be on Stripe as well. But yeah, there again, probably the most knowledgeable person with this specifically is Joel.
Just one second. I'm just opening up my chat GPT window. Okay.
So I'll just read some of the notes that you sent to me before the show. Wondering, number one, what are the most important integrations that we already have and want to maintain? We do have quite a few integrations, but as you can see, it's not super straightforward. It would be kind of nice to have a JSON object somewhere hosted that just has our current list of integrations, what type of integration it is, so that updating it would be a lot easier instead of getting into some content management system. It would be, maybe even something hosted on Dash platform eventually, so that everybody would have access to it and everybody could write to it, and there would be a process where it gets updated and whatnot. The second thing that you mentioned here was what are the most important ones that we currently do not have, but we want to pursue. Yeah, it's a separate question, and that gets into the question of strategy, and different organizations have different strategies. Like I mentioned, Joel's got Dash Growth that he's working on. Dash Core Group has their own strategy, and then my strategy is trying to get integrated into different front-end frameworks. And I've got a call this week that I'm going to be talking with one of these front-end frameworks and seeing if there might be something interesting to explore there. Getting into the development process, like the development framework ecosystem itself, I think is important. And you probably know this from being very familiar with the Web 2 space. There are whole frameworks like Remix that have been purchased by e-commerce companies. So that coming to mind is obviously the Shopify owns Remix now. And there's a reason for that. So that's something that I want to explore a little bit more to see what we can do there. So tell us what you're looking at here now.
Yeah, so I'm just searching around for like front-end frameworks and where their kind of crypto integrations are. So the first one I picked was just Vue, because the Vue ecosystem is one that I usually don't know a whole lot about. And so when you Google that, let's see, what was that? You just get stuff like Vue crypto JS. Hold on, let me go back to, there we go. So there's this Vue crypto dashboard, Vue crypto JS, because I'm thinking now, because for any of these front end frameworks, like if they're gonna have anything crypto related on their kind of like main site or repo or something like that, it would be like the most high level possible like integration. So it'd be very unlikely that it would just be like a specific integration with something like Dash platform. So that route I think is harder to go down. So you have to figure out where are the points where there's already people who are kind of friendly to crypto in those spaces. And that's where like honestly I've struggled with, just because when I was working at QuickNode, most of the developers who I knew before that from the Web 2 that I was trying to get into QuickNode were very skeptical of it. And this is also during like the crazy bull run and then crash in like 2022. So I think getting a foothold with crypto-friendly people in those communities already, if we could find them, then that would be at least a start, because that would then they could kind of give us a lay of the land in terms of like who else we would want to connect with. So that's just kind of like me thinking off the dome right now.
Yep. Yeah, let's mention that real briefly, because right now, one of our strategic angles here is you're actually, I've asked you to reach out to some of the developers that you know that are in the Web 2 space to see if they'd like to try out Dash platform.
And so let me show you the first people that I got to say yes. So we're gonna get my friend Monarch Wadia, we're doing the stream with today, actually. And so he's someone who is not into crypto at all, but is totally like cool with it as a philosophical kind of thing. And he's been doing JavaScript, TypeScript, and also like, you know, .NET, or not .NET, Java, similar. He was doing that like over a decade ago, I think. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be super curious to get his take, and you're going to get to meet him today. And when I was telling him we're going to like do a live stream, you like give, you know, feedback on the onboarding process. He's like, wow, you're going to do that live? That's gutsy. And I was like, well, yeah, that's like kind of the spirit of Dash. You work in public, you know. What was that?
Yeah, that's the ethos. At least it's my ethos. Like I don't want or need things to be super polished before we present them to the world. You know, the whole idea of learning in public, where a lot of people will kind of start their development career and they'll do it all public. And there's something that's magical that comes about with that, because on the one hand, you know, you're showing all of your warts and whatnot, and you show your limitations. But on the other hand, you know, people do just kind of want to participate with people that show that raw, you know, I'm just learning and I'm figuring this out and I'm going to have problems and issues. So I think that, yeah, that is something that I definitely kind of stand behind, is just this learning in public kind of approach, and having people use our products in public. And we don't have to, you know, hide things. It's not going to be perfect. But I did want to give a little bit more context to what we were talking about there with Monarch.
Yeah.
So with our last proposal, we kind of pivoted and said, Jojo Byte and Cool AJ86, they've got a proposal that got passed and whatnot. And I'm trying to reach out to more and more developers to have them try all sorts of Dash products, whether that's payments or our platform solution that's upcoming, where you have global state storage that's accessible. That's something I want to reach out to more developers. So you and I are going to be working on that. We've got I think 5 people that are interested.
We have 5 lined up right now, and then I put out a tweet about it yesterday that I'm gonna retweet probably right after this stream. So we got the ball rolling with that, which I think is really good. It's just getting the first couple will probably make it easier to get other people, so we can kind of show them what it will be. You know, I think I got a lot of people just kind of reaching out who are just like random like freelance devs and like the third world and stuff, which is like that will be kind of interesting to I'll have to like vet them obviously and make sure they actually know how to code and all that stuff. But actually that might be good, because like those are just gonna be like a lot of your average devs out there in the world, you know, or people in other countries, and you know, so
I think it'll be good to get a wide variety. So we'll have some people that you know personally, some people that I know personally, some people that we don't know, that neither of us know, but you know, they're a very popular developer. Some people that are very unpopular developers that may be more on the beginning side of things. So just a broad swath of people to get to try this product. You know, we can't obviously give job offers to all these people, but I want to at least incentivize them to take some time and learn about Dash, because one of the things that's nice is, you know, it's not like I don't view it as an expense even. The best way to get people interested in crypto is to give them some crypto and they can actually try it and use it. So not only are we going to get these people to try the product and help us with our documentation and whatnot, but
you know what I used to
use the currency.
So what I used to do back when I was working at QuickNode and I was trying to get some of my friends into it, I would tell them to set up a wallet and I would send them a donut. And so I had a whole bunch of these loopy donuts. This used to be my avatar on Twitter, and they're like dirt cheap. And so I had just a bunch of them, and it would be a good way to like force them to have to actually set up a wallet, get keys, learn how to find their address, send that to me, so that then I could like send them this kind of NFT. And so with Dash, that's you just send them a little bit of Dash. As also, this ties into making sure that we're integrated with all the things, because I would usually, if we're going to be paying these developers in Dash, then they like the first one who I reached out to asked me was like, can you pay me on PayPal? And I'm just like, I don't think so, right?
No, we're gonna have them go through the whole Dash process. So that if you hadn't said that, that's exactly what I was going to say next. Is one of the beauties of doing this payment in Dash is that they can then use the integrations for the subject of the topic today. We need to be able to tell them like, this is how you can actually use Dash, and like
maybe we should do that part in the stream.
No, we will. Yeah, we definitely will, because they'll need a general introduction to Dash itself, if not crypto itself.
Okay, so let's do this real quick. So I'm a developer. I'm like, you need to pay me in Dash. Yep. And I don't know how to go get a Dash address and give it to you, because I didn't know how to do that when I started working for you. So I just gave you a Dash address and I knew what to do. What would you tell someone? Yep. I'm assuming you wouldn't tell them to go create a Coinbase account, because that's what I tell people to do.
No, I wouldn't tell them that. That's actually ties into one of my earlier strategies with what I was paying developers to develop in the Incubator, which was, we have a web wallet. So we do need that super easy way to just get a Dash address without going through a bunch of
which web wallet are you talking about? You're talking about my Dash. This one?
So as far as SEO goes, you're going to have like the best SEO is going to be the longest running Dash wallet, web wallet, which probably is going to be the My Dash wallet stuff. And as far as I know, I've tested this and it's very functional. It works. And this would be a good way to get a Dash wallet. What this doesn't have is it doesn't have some of the integrations.
Well, it doesn't have a fiat off ramp. If someone wanted to take the Dash that they're paid and convert it to USD, could they do it with this?
No, and you can't do it with the wallet that I was alluding to either. So, but if you go to open up another tab and go to wallet.incubator.dev, and this is something that we have been working on. So this,
and this I'm familiar with,
So this is where I would take them for their first wallet to receive Dash, and we'll go through this in the stream with Marna later today. But this is where I would have them start, and then on the side, I'm having.
I'm not going to use this for anything important.
Sure,
don't worry about having that on screen.
No, I know. I don't get paranoid about that, because I know that you know.
Yeah.
So this is why.
This also would not have a fiat off ramp, though.
It does not, but I want there to be eventually. So what I would tell them is make your wallet here, and this probably won't. So what we'll do is I'll have JojoByte add a couple links to that integrations thing with some of the other integrations that I would like to funnel these people into. And one of those is going to be Spritz. So Spritz is probably the easiest Dash integration that we have to get into fiat. I use it.
Right. Yeah. You told me about this for paying your bills. Yeah.
But it's not just paying your bills. It's also if you have a bank account, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, but if these are United States residents,
So this would be, if we had this and this was built into the wallet, that would be the thing.
Yeah, and I have to talk with the Spritz guys to see if they have any kind of API or SDK to integrate with Spritz directly. or if we have to just send
easy
people
to
to
figure
their
out.
homepage.
Spritz Finance API. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's what we would want.
Yep.
It's current. Let's see, 7 months. Let's see what else they got. They got base SDK. It looks like a lot of these aren't super updated that frequently. No README. Okay, so this is probably still the thing then.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see them even have this, because they've never advertised this SDK or even the API that I know of. The best way that I know of is to just go through their website and to sign up on their website, and that's kind of a drag. Like I don't like signing up with. I like APIs more than going to.
Well, even an API though, you have to get an API key, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But you can control the user experience a little bit better.
I'm gonna just go off screen real quick and create a Spritz account.
Oh, okay.
So I can start.
Well, let's do that after the stream here, I think, because I want you to use my affiliate link.
Okay, fine.
But also, I don't know if people are too interested in seeing that yet. But that is like the process that I want to go through with all these developers that we're bringing on. And again, I'm planning on, even though we only have 1 month left, I think that we can get that 10 to 20 developer target of introducing them to Dash and the Dash ecosystem with the integrations that we want to funnel them through.
Yeah, we got 2 this week. If we do 2 or 3 a week, then we'll get to 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got some people as well that I've reached out to. So in addition to the 5 or so that you've already got,
loop me into those discussions.
Yep. So let me look back at your list. So we talked about some of the integrations that we have and want to maintain. Ones that we currently don't have, but we want to pursue. I think that's probably, that I want to get people into, let's see, how do I say this? I want to solve real world problems with Dash. And so the integrations that we pursue, like, no offense, but I'm not a big fan of the NFT stuff. And I know that you might not be either, but it's something fun to play with. But that doesn't really solve a real world problem to me. So the integrations that I want to pursue are things that basically solve existing problems that that people just generally have.
Such as?
Well, the main problem that I want Dash to solve for people is basically giving people employment and being able to help entrepreneurial startups deliver their product. And so it's payments. It always comes back to payments for me. So helping solve that.
Mean, it doesn't have to be payments though. What if it was,
and startup funding as well. But
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, to like get funding and or have some sort of funding mechanism, like crowdfunding platform or something like that.
Crowdfunding platform. So we actually did start a crowdfunding platform a while back in the Incubator. We called it Springboard, and so that's one of those applications that we may want to dust off now that platform's getting a little closer to being ready. So that is,
there we go.
Perfect.
There it is.
Of something that I would like to, like, that's an integration that
starts the world. That's funny.
Yeah. So this is just one app, one example, but
it's a Nuxt app. Interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty dated at this point. So we would need to put some serious time into that. But your third question here is, what are the first steps to take in getting integrated with us, integrated with project identified in step 2? So yeah, like, what's the process? Yeah, right now that's not very streamlined. The process is basically, like I said, Joelle is leading those partnerships and integrations with the Web3 space typically, and I want to focus more on the Web2 space. So right now it's just, basically I'm contacting you if I think it's interesting, but there's not a very streamlined process set for.
Is there a thing on our homepage where people could get in contact with us if they wanted to integrate Dash?
No, so I think it would probably be mostly like a Twitter game, an X game, where we're reaching out to people and becoming a little bit more active with the Dash Incubator account. So
okay, let's talk about that then. So not this one actually, Dash Incubator. Should we be making more tweets and stuff to be like, so I guess what would be your ideal thing that this Twitter account would be doing, I guess?
So it would be reaching out to entrepreneurial startup developers and saying, hey, how can we help integrate payments for you? So you have a product, you would like to integrate Dash, or not just Dash, but maybe potentially just crypto payments, and have a partner that we have that does have Dash support. So there are different payment providers that we have already partnered with, for example, helping those entrepreneurs get that seamlessly integrated into their site so that they can start making money. So like, I know that getting Stripe payments, for example, or any kind of credit card payments is not the most, well, you tell me, is it? Have you ever gone through the process of integrating payments into any of your websites?
So that's actually something that I'm about to do for the first time with the AI tool that I'm creating. But just knowing the developers that I have known and having talked to many people about this, if you're integrating payments, like there's a huge just like 80-20 rule where it's almost everyone is just like pulls in the Stripe API because it's so widely supported. The API docs are considered like best in the world, and the company has like been around. It's like very stable. So that is what almost everyone I know who is building in payments, who is just like a solo dev who's doing like uses like services and APIs and kind of pulls that together into some sort of app. It's always Stripe. Like that's the one and only answer. So
yeah, so that's why it was Stripe that we were looking at earlier in the show today, right?
Yeah.
To see if they had crypto support.
Did we
find an answer to that, by the way?
So yes, we are well supported because two of the main platforms they supported were so let's go back to that. What was the page we were on before? Providers and tools. Yeah, so Now Payments, and the other one was Coin Payments. Both of these are supported on Stripe. So if you have Stripe, you can integrate with these two, and then you can accept Dash. So that's huge. So we should have like a doc that explains just how to do that.
Yeah. So if you click through into are those links API documentation or website? I don't know right offhand if that's.
Well, we wouldn't integrate with it. We would integrate with the Stripe API, not their APIs.
So, but it can be as simple as targeting those Web 2 entrepreneurs. Like I'm thinking, like take for a very public example, someone like Theo, right? He has a product, he has upload thing, but I don't know if he has crypto payments integrated.
He doesn't, and he won't want them. He used to be into crypto, he says, back like a long time ago, and then fell out of it, and now he's not into it anymore. So
right, and so I just used him as a public example, as somebody who's an entrepreneur, has a product that he's trying to sell, and figuring out why. If they
this is the guy for that
already.
Levels, like if Levels didn't already have crypto integrations, I'm sure he probably does.
Yeah, so like finding these guys is the process that I want to follow.
Okay, I need to talk to my buddy Noah. My buddy Noah is super tapped into that space. Actually, I will ask him
Yeah. So that's my major target is small startup entrepreneurs who are maybe even solo developers that have complete control over the decision making, and we can handhold them into accepting crypto payments, especially Dash, because Dash
it could be a really hard sell to try and tell them like build an integration just with Dash.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to do that or want to do that. But we want to promote something that does support Dash, obviously.
Yeah, and that's why this is the whole integrations question then, because if we can get them onto something that already has a very easy onboarding thing and just happens to also support Dash, then you get to kind of square that whole circle, you know?
Yeah, but that's only the start of the process, obviously. So, and different people have different perspectives and views about this. But I would also like to, in addition to getting them set up with that, I would like to have some kind of a incentive program where their products, let's just say for an easy example, their customers would get a 10% discount if they pay using Dash. And not only would the customer get a 10% discount, but the entrepreneur company itself would maybe even get a 10% premium. So, and that would obviously have to be subsidized. So again, people have different perspectives about subsidies, but I don't think that anybody would deny that that companies spend a lot of money typically on customer acquisition. And this is just one way of.
So would you have like a proposal to have a certain amount of subsidies that then be given to a certain amount of people, then that would be voted on?
Yeah, it could be, it would basically just be a program. So this is just an idea that I'm presenting here for the first time. This is just something in my head right now. But just the general idea of like, hey, if your customers pay with Dash, which would require them to go through some steps, obviously. So it is work for them to probably pay in Dash, but that's exactly why we need to incentivize this, because people aren't going to do it on their own. But give a 10% discount to the customer and then a 10% premium to the entrepreneur / company owner, and subsidize that. So if something costs, let's say something costs $10 on their site, or let's just say $100. Something costs $100. They're paying for whatever $100 thing. It costs them $90 if they pay with Dash. And then the site owner gets $110 if they do that. So it gives an.
Would that be just indefinitely, or would that be for a certain amount of time?
No, and again, I don't have the details specified. Yeah. Even the 10% isn't specified. Like, could be 5%, could be nothing. 1%, who knows what the number is actually, but just to use a round number to illustrate what I'm talking about, do that and then have like a tight integration with them so that you could actually verify these numbers, and you'd have limits, obviously. So maybe there's like a $100 limit to the benefit that the company gets.
Yeah. Cause you gotta cap it, or else just like market forces take over and then you end up like getting hosed.
Yeah, I mean, if you design it right, then it's fine to have more quantity because that's achieving your objective, but you can't let it be gamed as well. So these are things like that itself would be kind of a difficult product to build. So we've talked about a lot of things, and
no, that's interesting though, because one of the things that we talked about right before we started was how like I'm building this AI thing, and I'm gonna put payments into it. We should have like a way to do it with Dash. So it's like if you could, so it's generating show notes. So if like you have 5 hours of content and it's gonna cost you $12 to generate your transcripts and show notes for that, you could be like use Dash and pay $10 kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you just breezed through that real fast, and probably people didn't even catch what you were saying, but you have a product that you're building right now. You're one of my target market, because you have a digital offering that you want to charge money for. And obviously, like, digital cash is something that should be easy for you to integrate. And if it's not, then we need to fix that. But I would like you to integrate Dash payments for your product. and possibly even have some kind of an incentive program so that your customers look into Dash. And maybe, because it may end up being, I don't know how you're going to price your product, but let's say that you price it at that $100 mark. And if we had that 10% program where you're giving a 10% discount to your customers and you're getting a 10% premium for, extra bonus for using Dash, that might end up being $20 total, right? That the Dash ecosystem would have to subsidize. Well, that's a small price to pay for acquiring a user who goes through the whole process of downloading a Dash wallet, looking into it, potentially probably having to actually convert some fiat to buy Dash. Like, that's a lot of work for them for $20. Maybe that doesn't make sense for them, but maybe it does. And so that's the whole thing that I'm kind of exploring these integrations, payment integrations, because I want Dash to be actually solving real world problems, which is just global e-commerce. That's a big problem that I want to solve. Like, how do we get people using Dash? Because that's the whole premise of the product. If
this is great.
Using it for payments, then we've kind of failed. And if people aren't really using it for payments right now, so what do we have to do to get them to at least try it? And then if they have tried it, then maybe they'll see that, hey, this is a really cool experience, and I want to do more of that. And I'm going to go look for the next partner that has Dash payment integration. Maybe I've bought Anthony's AI tool, and I see a website somewhere that lists all the different products that we have support for, this discount thing or whatever. And then they look into those. So, these kind of issues don't solve themselves. Somebody has to go out and put the incentives in the right places to get people to actually look at Dash, right? Because it's not just going to grow on its own. Somebody has to actually do something to give people incentive to use it.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I'll be curious to see how that develops. But this was great. I definitely, I think, got what I needed out of this episode. What my big takeaway is that for the Web 2 developers to be able to use Dash, they already can. It's actually not that challenging, but we kind of have to lead people down the right, not necessarily golden path, but like what the path that is going to make the most sense for them. So I think for the vast majority of Web 2 developers that I know, they are already familiar with or are planning on using the Stripe API. So I am going to first figure out how to do that with my own app and integrate that, so that then you could do the Dash stuff with their integrations and just have really, really good documentation for that, so that someone else could then go through that whole process. So I think that would be highly valuable.
So are you planning on doing, like, using the Stripe API directly, or do you have some kind of third-party plugin that makes it a lot easier for you to do that?
No, you just use Stripe's API, and they have their own SDKs, I'm sure.
Okay, so I'll be curious to see how difficult that process is for you. So
it's not gonna be difficult. That's why everyone uses the Stripe API in their tooling, because it is so flippin' simple.
Okay, I'll believe you if you say that. I will also say, though, that one of the ways that I found AJ is that I was following him and his streams, and he was integrating payments and building like a payment processing solution. And I don't remember if he was using PayPal or Stripe. But
what do you mean by payment processing solution? What do you mean?
Well, I'd have to look back on it, but I think
he wasn't just getting someone can you pay me $10? Like, you're talking about something that's not just that, not just accepting payments, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look back into it, but it seemed a little bit more involved than.
It might be because AJ was trying to build something highly involved. And that was the problem.
Bigger, that was the problem. But yeah, payments shouldn't be hard. And I think that's one of the biggest value propositions that crypto has, is that it should be easier to just drop in a script tag or a React component button to say, okay, now you have now you've enabled payments. That's been the promise for a while now, and it hasn't picked up. So it leads me to believe that there are other challenges that are preventing people from adopting crypto as a payments solution. These are things that I kind of have ideas about why it hasn't been adopted.
Let me show you this, and that'll be the last thing we can close it out. So I guarantee AJ would not have gone to this because he refused to do such a thing. But this is the React Stripe.js documentation. Here's the checkout form, 19 lines of code, including comments. And then here's the where you bring in your payments element. So this is all of the code. This is like 40 lines of code. And
wait, can you go back to that second one? Is this pure JS or is this React component?
So this is React.
Yeah, that was a React component.
So this is you got a couple of components. I wish they had a screenshot so you could just see it. But oh wait, I think this is it. So this would be a drop-in component, and it has card numbers, Cash App. Actually, Cash App takes crypto, and then WeChat. Yeah. So this is a drop-in component for Stripe. This is what this would allow you to accept payments by just dropping in a component onto your site.
Yeah. And I know that React rules the world right now, and so most developers will be able to use this React component. It would be nice if it was something that, like, do you know if this would you be able to drop this into a Solid app, for example, or a Vue app?
So definitely not Vue. Solid, you would have to probably make modifications depending on how deep the code goes and if they're using a lot of specific React isms. But if you wanted to just do your own thing with Solid, you would go to this one. You would just go to the pure JS, and this would work in Solid.
Yeah,
Solid. Usually, you could just drop in pure JS and it'll work.
Yeah, so I think one of the big questions is just like why have people, if it's so easy, and even having crypto support, I just don't come across. Well, there's a few things. I think that the flow that Stripe brings you through is a little bit difficult for the consumer. That I don't like it to be so difficult. Like, why do I have to add my address? Why do I have to add all this crap? If I just
because they want to be able to apply support, like KYC and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I would like to see a crypto option that's fewer hurdles to jump through. Anyway, we're not going to solve all this on this stream, and we've gone 52 minutes, so I think we better wrap it up there. Thanks for kind of coming up with the topic idea here. It's something that we've discussed in the past, but not you and I personally, I think.
At least know that it's kind of good to reevaluate every, some amount of interval.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Next week, we do have a plan already, but I don't remember what it is right offhand. I think Ash might be coming on the show, so I'll have to look at that. Ash is building some good products that I want to see if there's updates on, like gift cards, basically resurrecting the whole Dash Spend or Dash Direct product that we used to have but got shut down. Yeah, he's going to be resurrecting that. So hopefully we'll be able to get an update from him next week. If not, sometime in the future. We haven't really nailed that down 100%, but tune in next week to see that. If I'm pretty sure that's scheduled, but I have to double check. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yep. And if you catch we'll be streaming with Monarch today. That's going to be, so we go by UTC. So I'm trying to do the math in my head. So it's going to be 4.5 hours. So 8:30 UTC, I think.
Yeah.
That's about right. Cool. Yeah. So you can check that out if you're interested.
All right. Later, everyone.
Okay. Bye.